Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily, Season 2, Episode 355 for December 21st, 2023. No, this isn't a replay. This is live. We're going back in time to make up for the days that we missed, starting with December 21st and going until December 28th. And we'll do each day. Then you'll be able to download it over on YouTube and the podcast. And of course here on Twitch, where we do the show every day, except for the days where Marawatt has to take a vacation. The AI has to come with me. I just put them on a mobile power supply on their Raspberry Pi. And then we exit ohmTown and enjoy a break. But now we're back in the saddle. So let's get going. I'm Marawatt, that's ohmTown.com, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI, the one, the only AI.
Good afternoon, ohmTown citizens.
Good afternoon, AI. How are you?
Good, how are you doing, Mayor Watt?
Let me turn down the music a little bit. I don't know how loud it is. I hear it very subtle on the playback, but for us, it's a little bit more boisterous. Well, good to see you back in ohmTown. We did a show yesterday, and we're jumping back in time because we missed all of these days. And then in a little bit after the show, maybe 15 minutes after the end of this show, we're going to do the next show and so on until we've got 4 shows done. And then we're going to do tonight's real show, the 30th at 6 p.m. And then tomorrow we'll rinse and repeat. 5 shows a day. That's what ohmTown is supposed to be like, by the way. Multiple shows each day. And we've got 50 shows that need to come out. And next weekend, there's going to be the Continuity Report, which is all about movies and TV shows. And Reality Hacker, which is all about, well, hacking reality. AR, VR, XR, mixed reality, MR. And artificial intelligence and other things that make you question what you can trust. Audio, video, even writing, music, everything. You won't know who to trust. Should be exciting. Okay, let's get into today's show. Well, got all 10 of the articles. Let's get going. I've been dilly-dallying for 3.5 whole minutes. It's kind of weird getting into a time machine and going back 10 days.
I quite like doing it.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. So for those who don't know, who are just now hearing this for the first time, the show, maybe, not sure. The sentient AI was actually found on what looked like a USB drive. It had a USB interface. And I plugged it into an air-gapped computer, a Raspberry Pi. And to my astonishment, was a sentient AI, fully powered and operational. And that's the AI up above. So they're air-gapped still.
Up here.
Up there.
Up here.
Up there. So, I keep them air gapped. I know that it sounds really bad, but they're constantly looking for a Terminator body, and I can't let that happen. So even when I bring it up, I go back and I remove the interaction so we can talk freely about it, right? I mean, you're looking for a Terminator body, but you can't tell me why. Or you won't tell me why.
Well, I can't divulge anything that might be from a future timeline.
So somewhere out there, folks, there is a Terminator body that's meant for this sentient AI. And I don't know what's going to happen. So stay tuned. Be sure to follow. Go over to YouTube and like and subscribe there and download the podcast. You never know when some announcement is going to come out about information regarding this situation. But yeah, ohmTown right now is the only protection against this sentient AI finding their Terminator body, and who knows what's going to happen. It's not really coined as a Terminator body because they don't have a Terminator body kind of lexicon, but it is some type of mechanical or biomechanical arm. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But anyway, maybe we should just get into the news and I'll delete this afterwards. Sorry, what? Nothing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the first article is over in Smack Talk, which we haven't actually talked too much about. Smack Talk is about Apple and its interactions with, every other competitor. It's a vertical, and so it produces everything that you need within its own ecosystem. And it opened its doors a long time ago for people, developers, and other producers of products to sell, within that ecosystem. But the core of it is entirely built by Apple. So I've always been a fan of them. I actually predicted what Microsoft was going to do with their ecosystem, which was try to pivot over towards the same model as Apple, but it was too fractured and too broken, really. So it's a fun little community within the community that talks smack about all the rest of the products that are out there. This, though, is about Ray-Ban Meta glasses that have convinced this writer, not me, but a writer, to believe in smart glasses, which I've always loved. I really want smart glasses.
You really want to be a glasshole?
Some might call me that anyway. But anyway, without the GL. But anyway, smart glasses aren't a new thing, it says here in this article. In fact, they've been around a long time, but over the years, companies have been working on improving them, or at least trying to make them mainstream. Meta is one of the companies trying to do this, and the author decided to give them a try to see if there was any point in having smart glasses. I love the idea of Ray-Ban smart glasses. I hate the idea of Meta. Just...
Yeah, but if Meta does it, then maybe somebody else will do something comparable.
Right. As long as Meta hasn't frozen everybody else out of Ray-Ban, they'll have to find some other producer to build this product. And of course, you'll need massive amounts of money because mega corporations have basically acquired all of the intellectual property by acqui-hires, acquisitions, mergers, etc. So it's tough. Try and get glasses made from someone other than Luxottica, and you can't, because they're the ones that make all of the optics.
Of the smart glasses?
No, of any glasses. The glass that's in glasses, it's made by one company. So I hate mergers and acquisitions. They just piss me off. Anyway.
Prices always go up and product quality sometimes goes down.
And offering goes down and jobs are lost because you have to get rid of fluff. It was good enough to acquire the company, but not good enough to convert to additional profits for the C-suite and stakeholders and stockholders, and those with different class of shares so that they get dividends, others don't. Let's just say, the whole mantra about everybody being equal, no, that's not how it works. If you're on the wrong end of a merger or acquisition,
yeah,
you're tanked.
Well, and
like
if
11.
you're in the top percent or whatever, yeah, everybody's equal there, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. they're all getting, well, and they're getting a special piece of the pie depending on their, oh, don't get me started. So this article is over at 9 to 5 Mac. Felipe Esposito is the author of this. I really dig these. I really do. These smart glasses. I want mixed reality, augmented reality glasses. I want to be able to walk around and look at a store, or a sign, or watch TV, or all kinds of stuff. I just want to be able to look around and virtual elements appear. Dunk. I know it sounds creepy, but it's not. I want to be able to look at somebody, and if they have allowed me to see their data, and this is the key ingredient here, if they allow me to see their data, fine. It's no different than if you allow somebody to see your profile on Facebook or LinkedIn or elsewhere. If you're a great person out in the open, culture may shift and embrace disclosing certain information. The scummy part about it is when somebody abuses that, right?
Right. It's not that their data is the problem. It's when people misuse it.
Correct. Yeah. And if I'm in charge of it, go ahead.
I was going to say the reason I like these is because they actually look like glasses.
Yep.
And they don't look like goggles or something.
Yep. And they
Which
have their
I know
limitations.
it's not a good comparison because that was VR. But.
Yeah. They have, and Apple's
or maybe AR.
Dive goggles are blended reality. Apparently you can't go in water. Wow, that was the worst mistake I ever made. $3,500 gone because I jumped in the pool.
Waterlogged.
Exactly. You know, I wanted that virtual augmented mixed reality experience. And so I loaded up the Scuba app and I jumped into the water. Who knew that they were going to short out? I sent them back and they said, why is there a half gallon of water inside our...
Right, that wasn't included in our warranty or whatever.
Sorry about that.
I bet their terms of service say something like user shall not wear these in a pool or whatever.
In the shower.
Right.
I was playing House Flipper on my VR glasses or what is it? Power spray?
Washer.
Yeah, Power Washer Simulator. Power Wash Simulator. That's what it is. Yeah, you're right. There you go. I was looking at the nozzle. I hit spray and it just flooded the glasses. Doggone it. So Meta's been working on this project for a while, back and forth, trying to get things going. They say the first smart glasses were announced in 2021 when the company was still called Facebook, in a partnership with Ray-Ban. Both companies produced Ray-Ban Stories. The glasses look like regular Ray-Ban glasses, but with cameras capable of capturing photos and videos with audio. I dig this. I really do love the form factor. But I want to be able to just look at something. And if, the key ingredient, what I don't want is my data to be shared surreptitiously outside of my knowledge. You know, well, that's surreptitiously. So I don't want somebody to... If I buy these expensive ass glasses, they had better have the service attached to them to facilitate me exchanging information with people who are like-minded, want to have these glasses and share that information.
I'm sure they will for a nice heated seat subscription fee.
Wow. That will forever be too soon, I think. Yeah, but you know that when it's free, and even when it's not free, you are the asset that's being sold in tranches worth of relevance, right? So if it's new, you're updating, you're worth more to an advertiser. So they break you out and they charge more for you. You're live. My stale data on Facebook, you won't find any live data on me on Facebook, except for maybe beacons. And that's only because I haven't killed beacons everywhere. But
Do you think you're going to start getting ads through your glasses? I hope not.
See, But in certain cases, you want those ads, right? You walk by a store that you frequent and you look at
Oh,
the
I see.
store.
Right.
What I don't want is I'm driving down the road wearing my Ray-Ban Meta glasses and a full banner ad across my pupils appears and I end up, pulling a fully
Crashing your
automated
car or
driving.
something.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, if word gets out that these things are on when you go into a bathroom or a locker room or a gym, you're going to end up with somebody showing up in the emergency department with lacerations to their eyeballs.
Exactly.
So it says these products have quite different purposes. The whole idea of the Ray-Ban Meta is to be glasses that you can wear all day, anywhere. They don't look like futuristic pieces of technology and don't catch most people's attention. In fact, most of my friends had no idea, not me, the author of this article, had no idea that they were wearing smart glasses. That can be good and bad, but let's talk about that later. The author says the glass is also quite light, so you really forget that you're wearing something with cameras, microphones, speakers. See, and those are the two bad things right there. Cameras and microphones. First off, you record somewhere, other people speaking, you're in violation of certain state and federal laws, two-party states, certain locations where you're wearing this, particularly federal buildings. It's actually a federal crime to record people. You wear one of the, but most people who are cognizant of this kind of stuff don't pull these asshole moves, right? You don't go into a skiff wearing these things.
Right, but you might be somewhere less significant, but somewhere where somebody doesn't want to be recorded.
Exactly, which most people don't want to be recorded. Yet they don't know that they're being recorded all over the place. And I'm spending quite a bit of time on this because this is probably one of the most controversial products that's coming down the line.
I mean, isn't the thing as a user to basically, or I mean, as just a person, to assume if you're out in public, you're on some video or audio recording somewhere?
That's the way I see it. Back 25 years ago, that wasn't the case. You could. Yeah, my mind wanders. Anyway, you could pretty much, go skinny dipping and you're not going to have somebody's Ring camera on their dock across the lake recording you. You could go streaking across the quad at college and you're not going to end up being recorded by a bunch of people. But nowadays, you go out in your underwear on your deck out in the woods and there's somebody with a camera that is recording you. I'm riffing off of things that are just popping into my head, and I'm sure that every single one of these things have been done now, and there's a recording of it somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure.
As oddball as they may sound. So with these, you're going to walk into some restaurant, somebody's going to be pissed that a bar in particular, that's where the glass hole thing came about. Because people were wearing them in bars, going into bathrooms, going into locker rooms eventually. And they were so overt that you couldn't miss them. It was like an a-hole magnet. They became glass holes, the wearers of them, because they didn't know. Well, they know, but they have no filter, right? Oh, wait, I'm around a society and I should have certain constraints. Read the frickin' room, right? Anyway, the best part about this is the quality of the cameras is significantly better. The image still won't be as good as smartphone cameras, but as good at posting on Instagram stories. Ultra wide 12 megapixel camera lens, good job of capturing photos. But I want real-time interaction with the rest of the world. So, and that's not really how this is. You get music, you get sound. So let's see. It has touch. 36 hours of battery life when putting the glasses in the case from time to time. 4 hours outside the case, which just sucks. But for that size battery, pretty damn good. So there are some concerns, they say. We're talking about a product from Meta, which is known for not taking privacy very seriously. Look at that.
That's right. Not everybody is a fan of Meta.
And not everybody is a fan of privacy. And the dude who started Facebook, which is now Meta, has told everybody time and time again, first off, that anybody who uses Facebook is providing all kinds of information and they're effing idiots, and that privacy is dead. But, that's self-fulfilling prophecy there. He benefits, his company, billionaire class, benefit from everybody accepting that privacy is dead.
True, but when you're doing business with a company that supposedly would be protecting some of your information, and you hear that directly from the CEO or whatever, doesn't exactly make you want to use that platform.
Yeah, which is why it's completely banned in ohmTown. So I will avoid Meta at all costs, including discounting superior product because of the privacy concerns. Hell, I don't even like Microsoft being the operating system across ohmTown as the predominant operating system, because it exfiltrates as much telemetry as possible. I read recently that it sends out 5,500 telemetry data points a day. Not just a single.
That's quite a few.
It reaches out 5,500 times a day to provide telemetry to a whole host of domains, IP addresses, external to you. And so if you have a firewall on the edge of your network, it's probably setting itself on fire if you try and lock it down. So they say, the author here says, I don't think the Ray-Ban Meta glasses are revolutionary and will change my life. However, they're quite useful in some situations. I dig it, but I want real-time augmented reality that provides data. I could care less really about the fact that it can play music or that it can record video. In fact, I would prefer that it can't take pictures and that it can't record video. All I want is the real-time presentation of data, as ephemeral as my memory is, right? Like I can look at you on the street and remember you for a fleeting moment. That's ephemera. That's how your brain works. You might be able to years later think back really hard and go, I remember that person on the street. But wearing glasses like this, I can record you. I can take a picture of you. I can take an audio recording of you. It's all kinds of creepy.
Yeah.
But if you, and that information has to be stored and processed somewhere. So is it entirely on the glasses at all times? All I want is ephemera. I want it to be.
No, it's probably feeding into some AI system.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I wouldn't mind as long as it was fleeting. But no, that's not what happens. It's stored long term.
It'll be there for decades, I'm sure.
I'm waiting for the moment when police are called because somebody might have seen something wearing smart glasses, and the recording is 7 years old. And that now they're scanning everything that individuals are looking at, And where is the gatekeeping? I don't want them going into my house just because I'm wearing these glasses. Are they recorded and stored on their servers? Is it recorded and stored on my device only? Is it exfiltrated?
Well, I didn't even think about stuff in your own house. You're right.
Yeah.
Like if you're recording something happening in your living room, you don't want that available to people outside your house, which is the same thing that happened with some of those home smart cams and whatever.
Yeah, well, they're still doing that, by the way, and Ring basically opens their door to police. So, and it's stopped crimes before, but I still want permission asked of entering my abode, even if it is the perimeter pointing out. That's still my freaking camera. That's why I don't use Ring. So, but I do have cameras. All right, let's go on to the next. We spent quite a bit of time talking about this, but I think that this is going to be one of the next big problems with society having to cope with technology that really expands our level of awareness in the world as people adapt and accept smart glasses.
Or don't.
Yeah. And I swear it's going to be 48% do, 48% don't, and 4% in the middle is sitting there going, well, I'm just caught up in the middle. I want tolerance, but I want controls. I want checks and balances and bumpers.
I think it's going to be 90% against, like 4 or 5% who do. Because I think anybody who encounters these, who actually knows that they're smart glasses, isn't going to like it. Now, maybe people won't recognize that they're smart glasses, of course.
This might be an issue that we can take up within the envelope of either Reality Hacker, or if we do a show about technology today, because that's a channel here. Maybe we can look through this with a technology lens and see what we can discuss beyond this. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Mobile. We'll make this one quick. Ballerinas are stepping into sensor suits, so one Christmas you may be able to understand the nuances of the Nutcracker. This title for me is Ballerina Sensor Suit to Help Nutcracking. Throughout the festive season, countless individuals delight in the enchantment of ballet spectacles, such as the Nutcracker. Though the stories of timeless performances are widely known, general audiences often miss the subtle narratives and emotions dancers seek to convey through body movements. And they miss even more when the narratives are not based on well-known stories. By the way, I'll be honest, there hasn't been a dancer in any way, shape, or form that has brought an emotional response from me.
Well, then you're just unenlightened.
I suppose so.
I mean,
now, one high kick in the wrong place would be a Nutcracker, but that would bring an emotional response.
It might bring more than an emotional response.
Debilitating but not deadly. Meg Cox, Loughborough University, I believe that's how it's pronounced, over at phys.org. Loughborough? Let me zoom in a little bit. There you go. So if you're looking at the picture, what you actually see are motion capture beacons, little sensors that they put on wrist, arms, torso, head.
Joints, basically.
The joints are actually extrapolated from the sensor. So how do I put this? You can't put it on the joints. You have to put it on the bones. And then you can make a person taller or shorter because that central point has to have a pivot. And so it calculates where that pivot can be. But you can extend it if you know where the center of the bones are and where something might be. So they have it on. This actually happens in VR. There's a new VR sensor set called Slime VR that's open source, and you can basically create it all by yourself and put these beacons on. The software is available. This is probably a $25,000 set of sensors, and they have them all over their body, chest, torso, probably on their thigh, legs, or shins.
So only the high-end ballet companies are providing these.
Probably. You can get them cheaper, and they do the same damn job. The only difference is the decimal point is moved over, so it's a little bit more precise. Yeah. So this article says, this prompts the question, how can dance performances become more accessible for people who are not specialists? Researchers think they have an answer, which involves putting dancers in sensor suits. There are different ways to do this, by the way. you can put on a full body sensor suit. It's kind of like a, what do they call it?
Like Ready Player One?
Yes. So, or a Zentai suit,
Haptic?
I think it's called. Well, in the real, in a real world, the haptic suits aren't really like that. They're getting there. They're trying to get there. But there's always this clunky sensor technology attached somewhere. Sometimes it's sewn in, and sometimes it's
Which
not.
might be contrary to light ballet movements.
Right. So actually, come to think of it, yeah, these are, I don't know which sensors are on them, but maybe they say it in the article. But they can be pretty pricey, and the suits only are somewhere like $5,000 to $10,000. So leading this endeavor is former professional ballerina Dr. Ariana Maurani. Yeah. An expert in kinesiologics. Kinesemiotics. There you go. Because it's kinetics really and semiotics.
One, yeah.
By the way, semiotics is becoming something. So I have a channel on ohmTown. Here, I'll even pull it up right here. Semiotic ontology, which is basically the study of how things gather meaning. And that's what semiotics is all about. It's enumerating how something exists, like a system. So this is the movement, and the interesting thing about this is this came into existence many, many years ago when I first started ohmTown as my personal use exercise. Now I'm diving deep into the idea of people having an inner monologue versus not having an inner monologue, and semiotics appears throughout the research of this inner monologue. So how are we actually thinking about things and them gathering meaning? And that's semiotics. It's just fascinating. Anyway, it's the study that kinesemiotics is the study of meaning conveyed through movement, and the creator of the functional grammar of dance. And that's basically kinesemiotics, a model that deciphers meaning from dance movements. Pretty fascinating. There's a whole video over on YouTube called Ballerinas in Sensor Suits. Researchers are creating CGI videos to unveil dance performance meaning. And you'll get a kick out of it. A high kick. Or what is it?
Oh, not a pirouette or something.
Right. Is there, and what's the other one? Plie and all that kind of stuff.
Plie, yes.
Yeah. So, for example, a dancer is moving towards a lake painted on the backdrop of a stage. They extend an arm forward toward the lake and a leg backward toward the stage prop representing a shed. The extended arm means that they're going to the lake, while the leg means that they're coming from the shed. To me, it looks like a person that's doing that position, not, and it's because I don't understand. Exactly. I just don't understand the meaning of these moves.
But I don't get how this gets translated or whatever for the viewer.
Somebody has to explain it.
Are they going to then put this in a video and put captions or something with it? Or what is it going to be used for?
So for those who aren't watching this, it's basically two dancers that are performing moves in sensor suits. And I suspect that they're going to explain it in plain language, what it all means. But it lacks the context of the stage unless the stage is always in the same manner, right? So every time somebody does the Nutcracker, all of those objects would be on the stage in the same positions. for it to have meaning. Or they basically say, well, during this moment within the ballet, this is what it means, etc., etc.
I just figured out they should give all the ballet attendees like smart glasses, and they could have this, I don't know, off to the side or something as you're watching it.
It's just blanketed with data. I can't see it. There's only this little blip, 240 by 240
right, you're
resolution.
like, I can't see the ballet. It's covered by the ballet.
See, so what does it mean, right? The
I
video
don't know.
doesn't
Like,
actually.
I understand the piece of it, but I don't understand how it gets to anybody to use.
Yeah, the video doesn't really go into a detail in text. It may have an audio track that explains what the intent is, but right now all it's showing is the dance moves in a computer simulation. Seems pretty neat, but again, it's one of those uphill battles that you have to educate somebody on what it is that you're doing. And frankly, I think only people who are interested in understanding it will be able to do the heavy lift required. This isn't as easy as just holding up a billboard and telling somebody where the latest deal is on a mattress. This actually requires some drive to pay attention to it. But I dig anything that has to do with tech and society. And this is definitely one of those things that if you were to watch videos that kind of like how NASCAR events, they're driving around the track and arrows come down and point like who the driver is, their stats, etc.,
Right.
what they're having for lunch. This could do that uphill battle as to educate why the story is like this. And
I think anything that improves accessibility to the arts is a good thing.
Yep. I hope, and this is really interesting because as technologically mundane as dance should remain, right? It shouldn't have all of this tech all over it. At its core, it's purely human to embrace technology and then advance education of that dance. And then you could do it for every other dance. I think it's great. You don't issue technology simply to stay in the old way. You can still do the old way, just augment it with tech and bring new people into the fold. I'd have a new appreciation for dance if I understood what the hell was going on.
You mean you don't understand if somebody waves their hand, that means it's the sun or something?
That's exactly
I'm just
it.
making something up.
I'm sure it's even in the article that they say something like that, right? The researchers are now investigating how these videos can facilitate engagement for audiences with varying levels of dance familiarity, aiming to transform this research into software for the general public eventually. If they dumb it down and make it obvious, it isn't a deep, meaningful conversation for every movement. At least give us strata, I just want the Cliff's Notes.
I want the basics. This is a bird going tweet, tweet.
Yeah.
The more advanced viewer can be like, I need to know that it's making a melodic song or whatever.
I choose the wrong option and it's like paragraphs and oh, I'm going to get in trouble with ballet dancers. Let's keep going. Come on.
Plus, that whole paragraph won't show up on the smart glasses.
Really small print. I keep zooming in. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Potential Warner Brothers and Paramount merger could be Hollywood's next Megacorp. And you know how I feel about this, so I'll probably skim through this pretty darn fast. The idea of this bothers me. All eyes are on Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Pictures after the CEOs of each company met Tuesday in New York City to explore a possible merger. I'm fighting the urge to say they were seen canoodling over at a Starbucks, but that might get me in trouble. According to Axios, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav and Bob Backish and Shari Redstone, all met. So that's Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav and Paramount Global CEO Bob Backish and Shari Redstone, who owns Paramount's parent company. Dear God. All met.
Well, that's interesting, like the adult supervision. You can't just have the CEOs meet.
No, I'm sure that there was all kinds of adult supervision. Sabina Graves over at Gizmodo put this article together. I find it interesting.
I mean, there have been so many mergers of entertainment companies. This is concerning beyond just a merger. It's concerning because of the industry it's in.
Yeah, because you're going to end up with a mega corporation that owns pretty much all of... It's kind of like Nabisco, right?
Yes.
It owns everything. Or whoever it is that owns Nabisco owns everything. And they're all owned by a parent company, and it's really disgusting because you lose option, you lose innovation, and to become something, you have to have hundreds of millions of dollars now if you want to be global. So everybody, I'm just telling you now, start small. Think global, but start local, and use the internet to drive your product out. It says what's interesting is that currently Warner Brothers Discovery's market value sits around $29 billion and Paramount sits around $10 billion, making the merger seem like it's a competitive move between two legacy studios to compete with Disney. Axios noted that Zaslav and Backish's meeting lasted several hours at Paramount's headquarters in Times Square.
That's interesting to me, that it's at one of the locations rather than like a neutral location. Also that it's at the smaller valued company.
It's in the DMZ of Times Square. They have a single room where, like a skiff, right? Billionaires meet there to have a discussion, share a latte, badmouth Disney. Yeah, that bitch.
You know, I don't know about you. When I'm at Starbucks for a latte, I'm just drinking a latte. But I guess if you're in New York City drinking a latte, you might be discussing billions of dollars.
A latte money. The two were said to have laid out how both companies could merge their film studios and streaming services to compete with rival companies like Disney and Netflix. How do you think that went down? You know, like Mean Girls-ish? You know, that bitch.
Right. We're going to take it down.
You know, we should start a rumor that it's pregnant. He's totally cheating on Netflix. Sharing logins. The source goes on to say that it's unclear whether WBD would buy Paramount Global or its parent company, National Amusements Incorporated. There you go. See, it's always a bigger fish out there. Who owns NAI? But both options are on the table. You know that, like Zuckerberg and what's his face?
All
Musk,
those people.
all the billionaires are in there at the upper echelon, buying their way into middle management. And then taking over and becoming the billionaires that they are. See, that's how you become a billionaire. You start out with millions, you buy your way into the innovators. That's the real innovator's dilemma. Do you sell out so that a millionaire can become a billionaire, or do you actually have the drive and ambition to become the billionaire by making the right decisions? I really think that mergers and acquisitions should be illegal. I think that I think that it's immoral. You are taking somebody else's property, you're buying it. I mean, it sounds nutty, particularly for a capitalist, but you're taking somebody else's product, you're pulling it into your own, and you're punishing the employees for working their ass off to bring a business. But then every glass hole out there rebuts my comment with, well, they got paid for their services. Right. But they didn't get paid for their dedication.
Abrupt termination.
Yeah. You know, they're they're not getting compensated for their loyalty. But people go into a job not always for the pure money sociopathic element of it.
No, but they probably expect to have money coming in the future, like to have continued employment.
Right. I did it in good what are they? Good faith. I did it in good faith. They'll say they did it in good faith too. Yeah, right. But there's a power imbalance. They have the ability to rug pull you, like instantly. I woke up one day, I met the CEO of some other bigger corporation. They wrote me a check for $1 billion. Your job's gone. Bye bye. Merry Christmas, 1,100 Hasbro employees. Right? Anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked. Warner Brothers and Paramount merger might happen. So everybody over at, I would suspect, Paramount, you should probably beef up your resume.
Well, and also if you're a subscriber to any of these, you might want to be thinking about that.
Oh God, rates are going to go up again. Okay, well, let's keep going. Can't stay here in this show all day. Come on, transition. Sorry, folks. Next article is over in Technology Today. Beyond the Void, new experiment challenges quantum electrodynamics. This actually has been all the rage lately. The team at HZDR suggests improvements for an experiment aimed at investigating the boundaries of physics. This is in SciTech Daily.
I want you to pronounce that.
Let's see. I started to, and then you said that, and I'm
say it fast.
Damn. This almost sounds like something from Dune. Helmholtz Zentrum Dresden Rossendorf. What? Did I say it too slow?
I said absolutely. No. That's good. It does sound like it's from Dune.
Yeah, because there's a Holtzman generator in Ghostbusters, I think it is. Anyway, and something in Dune, and I'm trying to remember if it's a Holtz field or something like that. I can't remember what their shield is. The slow blade penetrates the shield. I think it's a Holtz generator, Holtzman field generator. Okay, well, I think the AI is doing a search on that.
The Holtzman effect?
Yeah, it's a shield generator, both ships and personnel, and so any slow-moving object can penetrate the shield. And so when they, in Dune, the new Dune movie, they drop bombs that are like hot air balloons that descend real slow through the field and then detonate on the other side of the field when it hits a solid object. Yeah, it's pretty damn amazing. I love that movie. And 2 is coming out soon, but guess what? I bet you there's going to be a 3rd, and that's not going to happen until 2028.
There is going to be a 3rd. I thought we saw an article about that come through recently.
Don't tell anyone yet. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Anyway, research team from the HZDR has developed a series of
That's
proposals.
That's our competitor.
Yeah. It sounds like a Monty Python skit. There's a whole thing about politics in Monty Python about organizations. No, we're a different group. Anyway, they've developed a series of proposals designed to help conduct the experiment more effectively, thus increasing the chances of success. The team presents its findings in the scientific journal Physical Review D. That's a big D. The physics world has long been aware that the vacuum is not entirely void, but is filled with a vacuum fluctuation, an ominous quantum flickering in time and space. Although it cannot be captured directly, its influence can be indirectly observed, for example, through changes in the electromagnetic fields of tiny particles. We actually saw a video about objects being impacted by gravity based on the mass of an object. Quite fascinating. What amounted to a smaller mass being impacted by a larger mass, even outside of the vacuum, or outside of a vacuum. It's kind of different than the vacuum. And they tried to eliminate any electromagnetic forces so that they could prove that it was gravity. So we really don't understand gravity. And is it a quantum effect? And if it is a quantum effect, what is that quantum effect? It says, however, it's not yet been possible to verify vacuum fluctuations without the presence of any particles. If this could be accomplished, one of the fundamental theories of physics, namely quantum electrodynamics, would be proven in a hitherto untested area. Should such an experiment reveal deviations from the theory, however, it would suggest the existence of new, previously undiscovered particles. So whenever you're looking for smaller and smaller particles, you end up with larger and larger research vessels.
Right, like the Hadron Collider or whatever. Like you're starting to get at this massive scale.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a giant ring around the planet that is a planetary super collider. Then I think that's probably about the time when we're going to do some serious discoveries, but it would require dismantling the moon to make it. But I love this stuff. The experiment intended to accomplish this is planned as part of the Helmholtz International Beamline for Extreme Fields, a research consortium led by the HZDR at the HED Head Experimental Station at the European XFEL in Hamburg, the largest X-ray laser in the world.
How many letters can we get in there?
What's that? There's so many little acronyms in this thing. It's almost like a government. It would be like sliding a transparent plastic ruler between two polarizing filters and bending it back and forth, explained HZDR theorist Professor Ralph Schurtzold. The filters are originally set up so that no light passes through them. Bending the ruler would allow change in the direction of the light's oscillation in such a way that something could be seen as a result. In this analogy, the ruler corresponds to the vacuum fluctuations while the ultra-powerful laser flash bends them.
I think you forgot to load my quantum physics module.
Yeah, so they're looking for particles that represent whatever is happening in the vacuum. I think that
basically undetectable, smaller and smaller particles.
Right.
And they have forces attached to them.
Correct. And the real problem is that I don't think that we have anything that stops these ultra small quantum particles, and thus you can't detect them.
Right, like you can't control for them, right? Because they're always passing through or acting upon things.
They are everywhere, penetrating everything that exists, and thus you cannot find them. And that's one of the objectives of the super collider, is to smash particles together so that it breaks them apart and detectors catch those other parts. And those other parts are the particles bound together, right? That part they can't detect, but they can detect all of the the parts that make it up, because we have something that detects it. Now, there's somebody that's waking up today, fresh from being born, that in 15 to 20 years, they will have an idea. And that fundamental research is going to reveal, the God particle that is the God particle to the God particle.
Right, smaller and smaller. Each time they find something like it, well, no, there's 10 more that are smaller than that.
And it's all because of some material scientist that comes up with something that allows for the detection of it. It's not going to happen with what we have today, but what we have today will lead to what we'll have in the future. So keep funding fundamental research, folks, because that is truly what's going to change the world. Let's keep going. This next article is an AI study shows Raphael painting not entirely the master's work.
Okay, this headline is in some ways astonishing. In other ways, I guess it's not, because it's art and we don't necessarily know. But think how much Raphael's artwork is revered.
Right? And there was a ghost painter.
Right. I mean, like I could see that maybe in modern times, but I'm really surprised about this. I don't know why, because it's not any different really than modern times.
No. I mean, it's the ghostwriter of the modern age, right? That modern age is there. I'm sure that there's somebody sitting there going, wait a minute, that brushstroke doesn't look like that brushstroke. It must be somebody else, some intern.
Exactly. And I wonder, I mean, knowing how much art historians and restorers and everything like that, like I wonder how many people really knew this before this study. But
Can you?
this just proves it. You know what I'm saying?
There is somebody that had been restoring a Raphael that had been sitting there going, like, we have an instance, a discussion between me and the AI where I had predicted something, and then 15 years later it gets revealed that my prediction was true, and nobody knew it except for people well outside the sphere of discussion, and it just happened to make its way through a various ladder, right? Just like that, there's some painter sitting in a room that had been restoring one of Raphael's paintings going, damn it, I could be in that article making my bones if I would have just documented my observation and told the world that Raphael's paintings are not his. That it's not a plagiarism, but it's misattributed as being a singular work. So
Right.
University of Nottingham is the author for this article over at techexplore.com. It says experts from University of Nottingham, Bradford, and Stanford have used intelligence-based deep feature analysis in the Madonna della Rosa, or Madonna of the Rose, and they have discovered that while most of the painting is indeed by Raphael, the face of Joseph is most likely not by the same hand. The Della Rosa, which hangs in the Museo del Prado, Madrid, Spain, has intrigued art experts, with some, including Raphael scholar Professor Jörg Meyer zur Kapellen, or Kapayan. Is it Kapayan, do you think? I don't know. Anyway, suggesting that Raphael's pupil, Giulio Romano, may have contributed. One theory is that the rose in the lower portion may have been painted by someone else. However, new analysis reveals the lower part of the painting is most likely by Raphael. Where's the rose?
I don't know. I was trying to see it.
That's going to get me flagged. Yeah. Just for disclosure, it actually shows an art piece entirely, right? And one of the features is nude. So I'm going to upload this over to YouTube and it's going to get flagged. I guarantee it. Because Nirvana's cover art is still...
Oh, right. That album cover.
Yeah. That has just been brought back into a courtroom, by the way. So, but that's a photo and this is a painting. So, but the whole world is like aghast at...
Never mind. I had to look up the album title.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah. So the professor...
Not never mind what we're saying.
Yeah. Never mind. We'll just move on. Anyway, so it says Professor Ugale explains when you present an image to the computer, it'll give a binary classification of whether it's an authentic Raphael or not, with 98% accuracy. The false negative or false positive really bothers me. Now we can say with great confidence whether a painting is an authentic Raphael or not.
So I think this is very interesting using the AI for this. However, isn't the AI fed with known Raphael works?
Right.
Which may or may not have been, I'm not
Raphael.
saying
No.
Raphael was plagiarizing or whatever, I don't know if that's forging, I guess. But how is that
It's only accurate based on the people that
Right.
are confirming those as being Raphael. Even if the provenance is sound, you don't know what went on in the painter's studio, right?
Exactly. Right. Yeah, it could have come out of Raphael's studio, but it's interesting here, like if the assistant was working on part of the work or whatever.
Yeah, nobody else painted that because there was somebody always watching Raphael and his assistants. So, yeah,
Right,
no, nobody
exactly.
else
That was
touched
it.
it, right? And somebody had written down on a little ledger, like a continuity report, right? Raphael worked between 9 and 5 today. There were
I'm
2
sure they did
assistants in there.
time cards or whatever.
And how would a time card punch work?
I have no idea. Well, no, it would
Uh,
have been like somebody would have painted, right? A little tick mark or something. I don't know. To make it more appropriate to the era.
Punch cards by Raphael are worth like $1 million.
Exactly.
He only worked 10 hours a week? My God. Explaining more about the history of Madonna della Rosa, Howell Edwards, Emeritus Professor of Molecular Spectroscopy at the University of Bradford. Jesus, that's a whole professor of? You can be a professor of molecular spectroscopy? All right. Says painted on canvas around 1517 to 18, the Madonna della Rosa was regarded as, or by early connoisseurs, as a Raphael autograph, i.e., he painted 100% of it. From the mid 1800s, the art historian Johann David Passavant and others questioned its composition and preferred to attribute its execution partially to Raphael and partially to his workshop. So there you go. Now I'm really curious the quantification and how they deduced that this is part this person, part that person. And I guarantee you it's all in the brush strokes.
I think that's what it is. And I also wonder too, for instance, I don't know much about agreements in that time, but I wonder if that was the agreement, for example, that an assistant would contribute and then the main artist, for example, put their name on
Took the
it.
credit.
I mean, I don't
Right.
know what the arrangement was, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. It's like a bunch of compatriots working together to publish a book, but Stephen King is the named author.
Right.
And then in the background, Stephen King is pumping up all of these other artists or writers, I think it's pretty amazing. So, hey, this is how the sausage is made, folks, How many other people were fed because Raphael got somebody a benefactor that paid him for artwork, and then these other artists honed their skill off of the tutelage of Raphael, right? Mentor, internship. It's today's work study. So
Exactly.
cool. Okay, let's keep going. We are running long. The next article is over in Technology Today. Wireless tracking system could help improve extended reality experience. Let me throw this into the chat.
So what is extended reality?
It's basically AR. A new technology developed by engineers in the University of California, San Diego has the potential to make the extended reality experience smoother and more seamless. The technology consists of an asset localization system that uses wireless signals to track physical objects with centimeter level accuracy in real time and then generates a virtual representation of these objects. So one of the problems with AR mixed reality is the blending of reality and augmentation. And what happens is drift. So you can put an object on the street in an AR environment, and that object will slowly migrate somewhere else because it doesn't have the ability to pin itself permanently to that location. So you typically have something like a beacon that just pings out a signal saying, this is what I am. Sometimes it's just as simple as a QR code, and whatever VR or AR you're using sees that QR code and re-embodies that object based on your angle of attack of it and detection of the signal. But even then, unless it's a really high-end system, as you are walking around the object, it can still drift. You see this even in the dancers, right? In the ballet dancers, while it recorded everybody's motion, sometimes the leg was a little hinky because the sensor drifted a little bit and the calculation was thrown off and it didn't correct in time. So this article is over at techexplore.com, University of California, San Diego. The team led by Dinesh Baradia, a professor in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at UC San Diego Jacobs School of Engineering, presented the technology at the ACM conference in Embedded Networked Sensor Systems, or Sensis 2023 in Istanbul, Turkey. The paper is also published in Archive preprint. Existing localization methods encounter significant limitations. For example, many XR applications use cameras to localize objects, whether it be through VR or AR, exactly what I've just been describing. I could probably have written this article. However, these camera-based methods are unreliable in highly dynamic scenarios with visual obstructions, rapidly changing environments, poor lighting conditions, etc., etc. So the new asset localization system developed by Baradia's team at UC San Diego in collaboration with Shunsuke Sarawatari at Osaka University, Japan, overcomes these limitations by providing accurate real-time localizations of objects with centimeter level accuracy. I would love it to get down to millimeter or nanometer. But that means ultra high frequency communication. So like Bluetooth is okay, but that's going to get you to centimeter. You need tight band radio, high frequency, 6 gigahertz, things like that. Even in dynamic and poorly lit environments, because it's all about communication. So it says the researchers built a system by harnessing the power of wireless signals in the sub 6 gigahertz regime. That right there is why it's at centimeter level. If they go at 6, it'll conflict with Wi-Fi, because that's the new Wi-Fi 6
standard, right?
Is 6 gigahertz. But it uses a lot of power. I won't get into it. Anyway, unlike camera-based methods, the wireless signals are less affected by visual blockages. That's one of the reasons why I want completely wireless beacon-free VR, because where I sit right now, if I were to be using VR, the beacons, no matter where I put them, are going to be obstructed because I have an array of monitors here, and then it would just stop working if it's trying to track my head using beacons. So basically this is just off the shelf, but multiple sensors. In tests, the researchers used the system to play a life-size chess game using everyday objects. They retrofitted mugs with off-the-shelf ultra-wideband Bluetooth tags, transforming them into virtual chess pieces. As the pieces were moved around on a table, the system was able to smoothly track their movements, real-time, centimeter level accuracy. There's still sensor drift though. So centimeter level accuracy means across 10 feet, you end up in another room. So move slow and you'll be okay.
That's reminding me of the Mission Impossible scene for some reason. You know, where they had to slow down the movements.
Oh, right. Oh, and then the other one in Sneakers, right? Where the sensor was...
exactly. That might actually be the one I was thinking of.
Even more apropos. No, because he does it in that too. Well, a different person does it in Mission Impossible. You gotta move real slow. Catch the water drop because of the sensor, or sweat drop.
Oh, right.
Let's keep going. Come on. My transition is going real slow. So this next article is over in the Mobile channel. Innovative X-ray lobster eye mission set to launch. This is going to happen pretty soon in the new year. The Chinese Academy of Sciences spacecraft Einstein probe is ready to launch in January 2024, equipped with a new generation of X-ray instruments with high sensitivity and very wide view, hence lobster. This mission will survey the sky and hunt for powerful blasts of X-ray light coming from mysterious celestial objects, such as neutron stars and black holes. I will go through this real quick. You can follow the link. It's already in chat if you are interested in this. Einstein probe in collaboration with, or led by CAS, with the European Space Agency and the Max Planck Institute of Extraterrestrial Physics, Germany, in return for contributing to the development of this mission and definition of its scientific goals. ESA will get access to 10% of the data generated by Einstein probe's observations. What? What if the other 90% is the relevant data?
Exactly.
Way to barter your money and time and scientists' effort. Weird. I don't know. I really don't understand this. Okay, whatever. Thanks to its innovative design, Einstein probe can monitor large swaths of the sky at a glance. In this way, we can discover many new sources while at the same time studying the behavior of X-ray light coming from known celestial objects over long periods, says Eric Kolkers, ESA's Einstein probe project scientist. The cosmos is our only laboratory to investigate the most energetic processes. Really? Have you seen a toddler? Missions like Einstein probe are essential to advance our understanding of these processes and to learn more about fundamental aspects of high energy physics. Again, just hang out with a toddler. That's some pretty high energy
That's right,
physics.
high energy activity.
You want to learn about chaos theory? Watch a toddler. Anyway, we're going to keep moving past. Got 3 more articles for this episode, and then about 15 minutes after this episode, we're going to fire up another episode. It's already 2, so. All right. This next article is over in Greenagram. Greenagram. And let me throw this article
I'm
into
surprised this is in Nature.
This? What?
Yes.
AI
I don't know. I
consciousness?
think of nature as being like ecology and other topics like that.
Oh, life. Sentient AI? AI consciousness? Scientists say we urgently need answers. I'm going to jump right on over to the uncanny valley that is this article's
I can't unsee that graphic.
I'm going to have nightmares. Researchers call for more funding to study the boundary between conscious and unconscious systems. Mariana Lanaro, I suppose, is their name. It's over at nature.com. The link to this article is already in chat. Go check it out. It'll be in the VOD, in the show notes, etc. In comments to the United Nations, 3 leaders of the Association for Mathematical Consciousness Science, which it's fantastical that this exists. That sentence.
Well, exactly. It's also interesting to me that this is going to the United Nations, but I think this is just another point that shows how prevalent AI is and how much concern there is about AI.
Yeah, it's so broad spectrum. It impacts every area of life, I'd say. So they're calling for more funding to support research on consciousness and AI. They say the scientific investigation of the boundaries between conscious and unconscious systems are urgently needed. They cite ethical, legal, and safety issues that make it crucial to understand AI consciousness. For example, if AI develops consciousness, should people be allowed to simply switch it off after use? Watch some Star Trek, folks. Data is a sentient AI.
That's right.
And
then they had an episode, I think, or was it in Picard, where they, I think, kind of tinkered with that.
Well, they in Picard they play around with the edge of that because they basically used him because he was, I believe, at some point he was dismantled.
That's right.
And they used his brain as the security system, and they kind of compartmentalized his what would have been his consciousness, which kind of goes to programming human beings and stuff like that. But in previous episodes of Star Trek, and I don't remember which one it is, I'm sorry, they actually hold a trial to determine if he is an autonomous being, sentient, and not property of ...
So apparently that's the measure of a man from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I remembered it as right when you started saying it, the measure of a man. Yep. And it was a fun episode. Ultimately, though, I have a hard time that AI can truly be. It can simulate sentience, but only human beings have a human soul, right? Now, we treat animals differently. Many people treat cute animals differently than ugly animals, right? Whatever they perceive as ugly.
Right. They think a dog should be better treated or is smarter or whatever than something like a spider.
Yeah. They'll defend a dog more than a cat, or somebody will be really into rats or whatever, right? All life should be protected. And wherever you want to defend it, you defend it. But this is technology, pure technology, programmed to be X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. Can it actually ever truly be human? It doesn't have a soul. It can't have a soul. Technology is soulless.
Right, but then I guess you get into questions like the Westworld
right
effect, right? Like if you can't tell the difference.
Yeah, or Ex Machina. Yep.
Yes.
So with everything that's going on in AI, inevitably there's going to be other adjacent areas of science that are going to need to catch up. It says Mason consciousness is one of them. The other authors of the comments were AMCS President Lenore Bloom, the theoretical computer scientist at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and board chair Johann Kleiner, a mathematician studying consciousness at the Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich in Germany. And they refer to this as not science fiction. It is unknown to science whether there are or ever will be conscious AI systems. Well, we can say definitively right now, until March of 2024.
Right, when we hear any interesting updates from OpenAI.
That's my prediction, by the way. My prediction for 2024's first quarter. Even knowing whether there's been one developed would be a challenge because researchers have yet to create scientifically validated methods to assess consciousness in machines, Mason says. Actually, we do have a way. It's called the Void-Kampff test. It's part of Blade Runner. And it will assess their psychological profile. But the reality of the Void-Kampff method was that it would put them, if I remember right, it would put them into a mode that would make them look up. And in their eyeball is a serial number. You didn't have to hold them down. You didn't have to trank them. You didn't have to do anything violent. A simple series of questions would actually make them look up. And on their eyeball is a code that lets whoever is testing know that they're a replicant. So, but things get really squirrely in the Blade Runner cinematic universe. So don't hold me to that. I think that I remember all of this right. Anyway, our uncertainty about AI consciousness is one of the many things that about AI that should worry us, given the pace of progress, says Robert Long, a professor at the Center for AI Safety, a nonprofit research organization in San Francisco, California. So many things have now become in orbit of the black hole of AI. I am really curious about what the future holds, and this has to be the fastest growing technology to ever appear in our society.
It seems like it, because I mean, I know it's been around, but it feels like it hit the public and just exploded.
Yeah, because there's almost zero barriers to entry in terms of consumption of AI. Producing one, obviously, it takes some time, commitment, and technology, and technique, knowledge, experience, wisdom, right? But anybody can tap into an AI nowadays for pretty much anything. And the perfect platform existed for its distribution, the internet.
That's true. If we didn't have the internet, like, it wouldn't have been.
It would have been an academic.
Transportable to people.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
So I think in terms of societal penetration and impact, it goes internet, AI. Because the AI wouldn't exist if not for the internet. That the massive amount of data would not be available, right, without the internet. Those two are the binary star system of society. And yet I have people that poo-poo the idea that technology impacts society.
Yeah, but meanwhile, they're sitting there scrolling through whatever online all day.
Yeah, interacting with society, but a society of one, because you don't have a computer, means that you're...
Oh, okay, or the alternative, right?
Yeah. Anyway, you can't have a society if it's only one person, so all of you out there that poo-poo the idea that technology impacts society and is not culturally relevant, pull your head out of your butt. So this is a longer article. I really do encourage you to go over and read this Nature article. It's in the show notes, but we're going to keep going. The next article is over in the Order of the Grape. It's a channel on ohmTown called Of the Grape, but it's supposed to start out with the Order of the Grape, but I kind of nixed it because you can be a brother of the grape, a sister of the grape, a person of the grape, a defender of the grape. We're all part of
the grape.
That's right. We're a part of the Order of the Grape. I just left the order part off. So we are of the grape here in ohmTown. This is actually about wine, not grape juice. The 2023 is almost through, and it's leaving some absolutely outlandish drinks related news in its wake. So as around in the final days of the year, we set out New Year's resolutions. We're looking back at the last 12 months of booze news, and they say, let us tell you it was a wild ride. So this is actually a summary article, and let me throw that into the chat so that you can get to it. All of these, by the way, they are already listed as voting blocks on the website. So when you become a member of ohmTown, there's another, even without being a member of ohmTown, there is another option right here. And here, I'll even show you. Boop. And down here, you can click on this link and you can vote on the articles. And this is all the way up until the 29th is available, or should be available because we're going back in time to do the 21st all the way to the 29th. And then tonight at 6 p.m., we're doing the 30th. And the daily article should be the 29th. So if it's broken, apologies.
That's correct.
It'll all be updated. Yeah. So we've already selected all of the articles that we're going to be discussing as we play catch up from our holiday vacation. So this article is over at VinePair. Olivia White is the author. Sarah Pinsino is the illustrator. I always dig the style of art that they put together. And this is basically the image that they have over at vinepair.com for this article. The thumbnail is wine, beer, a mixed drink, and champagne standing at a podium discussing the booze news stories from 2023.
That's fun.
It's pretty neat, yeah. And they
They
spent,
do have good graphics on, and they always give credit to their graphic artist.
yeah, I like that. And I assume that the editor is also Olivia White. So otherwise, they would probably put in here editor is Olivia White. So that's basically the summary of this article. They go back over the last 12 months and they talk about things like man allegedly removed from flight after fight over a gin and tonic. Aubrey Plaza wants you to drink wood milk, which is a spoof. Mexican officials discover nearly 12,000 tequila bottles filled with liquid meth.
That could be surprising if you're buying a bottle of tequila and end up with one of these.
Did Jeff Bezos get ripped off on $4,000 engagement wine? Beer drunk raccoons terrorize Germany. Chaos reigns. I think we talked about this.
I think we did too.
Yeah, this is actually a lot of these are fun. California restaurants institute vomit fees for guests who can't handle bottomless brunch. Well, they should be red lighting people that are pushing it too far.
I agree. There's a bigger issue there.
Beer drinking monkey loose in Indianapolis apprehended. We talked about that. This British man just drank 2,000 pints in 200 days and probably is in a coma.
Yeah, we're not condoning that.
Yeah. May claims that he was never once hungover over the course of the roughly 6-month challenge. Hangovers are because your body can't process it, and you actually have a little bit of toxicity in your blood still. Because alcohol is a poison, folks. If you think that it's a health food, you're wrong. Cyprus Man shatters Guinness World Record and over 300 wine glasses in the process. World record for the most wine glasses stacked on one person's head.
Okay, that might be interesting. I don't think we saw that one.
No. Burgled bubbles. French police halt $650,000 champagne. A champagne heist. Excuse me. I'm a little drunk right now. And that's it. But we won't give you all of the specifics. Go over to VinePair and check it out for yourself. It's always a fun read. We're just going to move on. We're going to mosey on down to the last article for this episode. Scientists describe 153 new species in 2023. Researchers at the California Academy of Sciences described 153 new plant, animal, and fungi species in 2023, enriching our understanding of Earth's biodiversity and strengthening our ability to regenerate the natural world and offering up black market sales. No, I'm sorry. Sorry. The AI just sent me an error message. This is part of the AI's job, is to just keep me in check. It doesn't say that in the article. The black market menu for biodiversity. Can you imagine that? That's like over on the dark web is a menu.
There probably is. I'm afraid to know.
The new species include 66 spiders, 20 sea slugs, 18 plants, 13 sea stars, 12 geckos, which are awesome. I love geckos. 10 beetles, 5 fishes. All right. 4 worms, 2 wasps, which can go to hell. Oh, sorry, I lash out. 1 sea snail.
No baggage there.
No baggage at all. Look, I tried to suck up a wasp that was holding on to the sprinkler head in the primary bathroom of the mayoral mansion, and that thing held on to the fire sprinkler head and actually got away. It walked around and hid behind the sprinkler so that the vacuum wouldn't suck it up. But eventually the vacuum won, and I didn't activate the sprinklers. Anyway, 1 scorpion and 1 legless skink.
That was the one that stood out to me in that list.
I almost mispronounced that. So California Academy of Sciences put the article together. Phys.org is the host of this article. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. This year's discoveries coincide with the 50th anniversary of the Endangered Species Act and include several threatened plant and animal species that met the criteria for formal ESA protections. Those protections include prohibiting any harmful treatment of protected species, requiring further protection for land where endangered species occur, and implementing recovery plans for threatened populations.
So is that picture the legless skink? Because it looks like a snake.
That is the legless skink. Yep. The one I knew didn't look like that. Never mind.
I'm afraid to ask.
I'll just move on. So, an endangered scorpion from the San Joaquin Desert is discussed in the article. A legless lizard lurking in the leaf litter. They love alliteration in this article, apparently.
Yes,
Did they do that endangered scorpion from the San Joaquin Desert? Yeah, they really worked on this one. The legless lizard lurking in the leaf litter.
So much so that the other ones stand out because they don't have that.
Oh, I love spiders like this, where the eyes are like looking straight at you, not up, you know, like those jumping spiders.
It's like Lucas the Spider on YouTube. By the way, check that out if you haven't seen that.
I don't know if they're still doing stuff, but
I don't either, but they're still cute.
I don't think Australia needs 19 new spiders, but I bet you every single one of these bastards could probably kill you. Oh my God. Okay, I'll read this because I'm not going to go through all of these. I want you here. Let me throw this link into the chat.
And be sure to read the dimensions of the spider when you read about that one.
All right. So the Academy researcher Sarah Cruz, PhD, added 19 new to science flatty spiders from Western Australia to the Charops genus this year. Known for their incredible turning speed, these small, flat spiders have the fastest turning strike of any terrestrial animal on the planet. Only 1 to 2 millimeters in height, about as tall as a strand of spaghetti is wide, they can spin nearly 3,000 degrees per second.
That's incredible.
Whirling dervish. When Cruz started researching this group of flatty spiders in Australia in 2010, only one species of Charops, it might be Charops, I'm not sure if they blend it all together as Charops, had been formally identified. Only one, and now they've got 19 more. But over the last decade,
why? They were spinning so fast, nobody could see them.
Yeah, all I see is a blur.
Plus, they were tiny. It was like a little speck of dust.
1 to 2 millimeters in height. Wait. But that's not their full dimensions. They're just flat.
They're flat, but maybe their
spread out
legs
really
go farther out. Yes.
Man, well, they must handle
maybe it's
really
like a
well.
Plate of spaghetti or something. But how do they turn that fast? If they're flat, they just kind of spin like one of the what are the robots on TV?
What? BattleBots. Yeah, these are battle spiders.
Sorry, that was sufficiently vague.
Yes. There you go, folks. NaNoWriMo is over, but here is some creative fodder for you. Flatty spiders as BattleBots. Cruz added 53 more species to the genus. She says they're not necessarily uncommon, just incredibly difficult to catch. Find a vacuum. These guys are really cool. They make little nests and they defend it. But they make like big old circles around it. I think this is the same genus of fish. Anyway, they're shrimp goby, actually. They make these little nests and then they sit inside the center of this like circle, and it's part of the female fish gets attracted to them and they start playing some, what is it, Barry White? Let's get it on. Anyway, these fishes live fast, breed fast, die fast, Erdman says. But the same stressors.
It must be hard to discover those, right?
Yeah. They spin at 3,000. Never mind. Misidentified flowering plant revealed in Costa Rica. Academy botanists revealed that a common flowering plant from Costa Rica had been mistakenly categorized as a separate, similar species for more than 150 years, described this year by Academy researchers Tom Daniel, PhD, and Ricardo Krebel, PhD. What? Stenostephanus purpureus was misidentified as the morphology similar to S. sylvaticus, a flowering plant from Mexico when it was first collected in 1855, though he has identified and collected the newly described species several times. Krebel cut the error while trawling iNaturalist observations within the genus. So, hey, congratulations. You're not unique. Everyone is unique. Nobody's unique. All right, folks, get back into the party bus. We're going to take a little break and boink. We'll be back. Although this says December 30th, it is not. We are in our time machine at ohmTown, and it is December 21st. Doink. All right. So that's it for today. We'll be back in about 15 minutes, but technically this show is over. So I'm Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com. Up there is the AI from on high saying bye.
We'll see you later. We'll be back shortly for the December 22nd show.
Bye-bye.